Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dog.
Mike, it is great to see you. Better than normal, even because you survived a half marathon. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yes, did the half
You
marathon.
forgot?
Well, it felt like it was so long ago at this point. I don't know. This week felt kind of long. Yeah, did it. Felt good. Wasn't really that sore afterwards. Halfway through the race, I'm thinking, I could definitely do a marathon. Like when you're in the race.
Whoa.
But it was fun. You were on Malibu. You were running. Definitely the training came in handy. It was good. The long run. Everybody was very more casual than I thought. Some people would like run and then walk, or not as like competitive as I thought. I think the more competitive people were more up front. Where the guy finished the half marathon in an hour 9 minutes, I think.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's absolute. I mean, I
Like that
didn't.
doesn't sound healthy. Like he's running too fast. Have we tested him?
It
Has
was
he
like a
done doping tests?
full out sprint. I saw them because it's a out and back, so you see them running, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, these guys are running full speed. Imagine just sprinting for an hour. This is what that guy did. I was like casually jogging for 2.5 hours at my
Well, I
pace.
feel like you're telling on yourself by telling us the people around you weren't all running, or there's some who were just walking, which means you may have been in that pack a little bit. But it's great that you survived 13 miles
Yeah,
and that
I
you're going to do
survived.
26. I mean, that's so
That's so
far. That's like your house to LAX. Can you imagine?
no. I think that's only 10 miles from my house to
No,
LAX. Yeah,
no.
it is.
I'm
I
t-
swear to
I'm
God.
10 miles.
I think it's only 10 miles. Well, I'll look on the map after. But yeah, I
Let's look
mean,
it up. The most
uh,
athletic thing you've ever done in your life, right?
definitely. I don't know if I call it athletic. I think it's more endurance. Athletic would be like gymnastics or right. Like athletic to me seems.
No, it's part of the athlete rankings. Like when you rank all your friends as athletes, which I know is due to us at some
Yes, I
point
have that. Yeah,
soon.
I have
I
that in
think
there. Yeah.
running and endurance is a part of the rankings. And I think many of our friends, lawyer friends,
Oh
mutual
yeah.
friends, they can't make it 13.
Well, actually, I was gonna say lawyer friend probably has good endurance because he goes snowboarding and goes on random hikes a lot. So I feel like there is endurance built into that. I think it's more like maybe you, Jeremy, you might not have as much endurance because you're not doing a lot of outdoor activities that require multiple hours. Listen, this has all been in my ranking.
Wow.
I have it ready, but I haven't
Just
presented it yet.
exposing me here. I feel like I'm decently athletic. I hike a little
But see,
bit.
athleticism, I feel like is can we go play football, baseball, and pickleball, and can you compete in the game because you're athletic enough? Almost like I can play video games, so I can be a video gamer, but I might not be the best at puzzle games, but I can figure out how to play video games. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. We need a field day. We need to do this
We
because
do.
I play a lot of sports. I might not be the fastest. I might not have the most endurance, Mike, but I play a lot of sports. My hand-eye coordination is right there, and I'm happy to take on all
Okay,
the people in
I
there.
do. We do need a field day because I need to grade everybody's skill, and I don't really know how to do it yet. But I have a general skill set I have laid out for me. It's
All right,
very
good.
detailed.
Well,
Um,
congratulations. Excited for
Thank
the
you.
full marathon. You just told us you're going to be signing
No.
up for one of those coming up, so we'll be tuned in for
I mean,
when that happens.
I did watch all the people do the New York Marathon, and I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
same
that's
weekend.
kind of cool. Seems a lot of fun. Seemed very exhausting, and I don't know how much training goes into that because that means you're doing weekly. I was already running 20 miles a week. You probably have to do 40 to 30 miles a week.
Mm.
It's insane.
Especially for people in New York City. Where are they training?
Just running around the blocks, going in circles.
That's a lot of blocks.
It's a lot of
Congrats
blocks.
to you. No
Thank you.
congrats in order, Mike. It's been a
Yeah.
big week in the news, and there's a lot of places we can jump off and go. And I'm happy to go to any of them. One I want to bring up is
Yeah.
Tom Brady did not have a good week, and he didn't get
No.
divorced again. He didn't lose again. Nothing like that. He just lost hundreds of millions of dollars in this
Yeah.
FTX crypto scheme. He was doing Super Bowl commercials. He was doing these commercials
Oh yeah.
for FTX. He's got the diamond eyes. That's what he's known for.
Well,
On
diamond
his
eyes are a
Twitter
Bitcoin.
avatar.
Oh yeah, diamond eyes. Oh, there's laser eyes for Bitcoin. I don't know what diamond eyes are, but
Diamond hands, laser eyes.
diamond
It's
hands.
all
That
connected.
hold on.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the crypto expert. A good thing these days. But Mike, Tom
yeah.
Brady, FTX, maybe that's part of the reason for the divorce. Maybe Giselle knew about this in the summer and she started blaming him and said, "Get me out now."
I like the conspiracy. I don't know. So as the details come out, like today, more details to come out. So during the beginning of the week, FTX talking to Binance, hey, can you buy it? The guy that owns FTX hates the guy that owns Binance, and the Binance guy hates the FTX guy.
They're
Competitors, but also like
used to be.
yeah. So that happened. Binance was going to buy them, didn't buy them, and now FTX is filing for bankruptcy. And now we find out that he was trying to save his wife's or girlfriend's company, Almeida, and he gave billions of dollars over, but it wasn't his billions of dollars. It was actually the users' money over to this company. I understand it because, like, in the heat of crypto, you were leveraging everything. You had Bitcoin, you had Ethereum. You could go take that Ethereum, leverage it into something else, then leverage that leverage into something else, and you're making gains here way deep in the internet. You were making a lot of random money. And this is now what I think it's going to set back crypto a few years because we are no longer, there's no trust in the market, right? All these big things are going under. Hopefully, if Coinbase goes under, we know there's going to be multiple years before things are happening.
Oh, crypto's done if Coinbase goes, because that's where the reputable people are now storing their Bitcoin. Like the people, the novices.
Yeah,
the
you
novices.
can't just take it all off. In the summer, I took everything off the platforms and I have it in a little key, and that's
But wait,
it.
I've been told that Coinbase is the one safe place.
I
to
would
house it
say no place is safe because you can see how they lock your money out, and they say, "Oh, well, we're going to give it to you in a few days." Blockify was a big one that I was going to use where you could put a lot of money in and leverage a lot of your money and earn interest on your money. Blockify might go under. I think it's going to set it back a while. So I guess it's now time to accumulate a lot when everybody's down. I mean, this is like the winter people were talking about. This is like the winter
the
of
winter. It's
where
really
crypto.
bad.
Yeah. Like if Bitcoin goes to $5,000, I would not be surprised, but that's when you want to buy like 10 of them because when it's $100,000, it'll be good. Now that could be in 5 years, but it's definitely scary. I don't know about Brady though. It seems like they would have known, but I don't know why they put, it was a lot of money. It was like
600 million of his own money, which we know he's worth
and
a lot. Giselle's worth even more.
No, but that was Giselle's money too. They both jointly put it in. Plus
so the conspiracy makes so much
plus
sense.
all of the other money they gave FTX as an investor. So that shit is gone. I don't know what's going to happen.
Long gone. Yeah, that guy Sam needs to go to jail. If you haven't heard the story, it's worth reading up on. There's many stories worth reading up on this week. A lot of things are falling apart. Crypto's falling apart. Your favorite social media network, Twitter, is falling apart thanks to your favorite billionaire, Elon Musk.
Let's talk about Twitter real quick because
yeah,
I was reading a lot of tweets and everything over the weekend. And I saw a tweet, and it was probably the same time where I was saying, Twitter, the dying social network where we're at. It actually was dying in 2016 and 15. They're like, yeah, we're about to go under. And I knew it at that point. We were like, yeah, we don't use Twitter.
Well, they weren't making any money at the time. They didn't have advertisers on your page as you scroll. I don't think they had ads at that time. So there was no subscriptions, no ad money. Of course, it was going to fail at that time. They've since added ads, and now Twitter Blue, and I think Twitter Blue's gone.
What do you think about the Twitter stuff, the Elon stuff? What do you think about it? Are you still using Twitter? What's going on?
I'm using Twitter to watch Twitter burn down. It's the best seat in the house is on Twitter to watch it all happen. I have not been this mad about something in a long time, Mike. And we used to have a segment called J-Dog Takes On, and we still do sometimes. I go on rants and I get mad. This has shaken me to my core.
Whoa.
Twitter is the most used app on my phone. I spend more time with Twitter than with you, than with a mutual friend, than with other people in LA.
Even when you're with us, you're using Twitter. Yeah,
true. I use Twitter. I work in media. I work in sports. I work in news. I have some politics, and that's all the great things that Twitter is about. And this rich ass man, maybe the richest man in the world, buys it for $44 billion. Not even worth that. He could have done so many things with $44 billion. It's like the one-man philosophy. When I recycle or not recycle, am I truly making a difference? When I give $20 to charity or not give $20 to charity, am I truly making a difference? Possibly not. When you're worth $44 billion and you actually can, as one man, enact change on a global level, the idea that you're going to buy Twitter, a social media app, okay, and make it better, okay. He's done the exact opposite. He has torn it down. He has torn it down to the bottom. All the smart people at Twitter are gone. All the safety people at Twitter are gone. All of our information is now at risk as Twitter users. And he's just destroying it in real time in a way That's like very Trumpian. It's like, how stupid are these so-called smart, rich people? And it makes
Okay.
me wonder about Tesla. I've started selling my Tesla stock, Mike. You have a Tesla. I don't know if I'm allowed
Yeah.
to say that, but you do. It just makes me question everything this man touches. Would I ever get into a space shuttle that this man is launching with SpaceX and trust him with my life to take me to space? He is such an idiot.
I 100% disagree with you. I am so on board with what Elon's doing. I think a bunch of idiots were running Twitter before and they were unprofitable, and they are now he's changing stuff. And guess what? Jeremy, when you're changing, it is hard. Things happen. Listen, you want to lose weight? It's hard. Things happen. Things come up. It's like, oh, I got to do this, do this. I think what he's doing right now, it's a little growth thing. It's like, oh, things are going to fall apart, things are going to break. That's okay. And I think in a year from now, you're going to be loving Twitter. There's going to be a lot more in Twitter that you will like, just because things like, oh, the blue check mark's $8, or oh, I can't change my name once I get a blue check mark because like Doja Cat, her name is Christmas, she can't change her name. I didn't realize that. I wanted to change my name. I wanted to drop off the .eth. So I just think what he's doing is smart because he's going to make it profitable. He's going to fire a whole bunch of people. And guess what? He laid off a lot of people. Maybe he has to hire one or two of them back, but all these other companies are laying off. Twitter was just in a holding period, and now he's made out to be the bad guy because a bunch of dumb idiots, by the way, never fucking tweeted a goddamn thing in the world. The people that ran, the CEO that ran Twitter, never tweeted. I want somebody that uses the application. I want Jeremy, you use it. You would be able to be like, hey, I would love features like this. I would like this. Elon, he's a Twitter guy all the time. He tweets everything. I think Twitter will be better off, and I think Twitter will survive and be profitable in a year.
Let's start here. Twitter will not survive, at least not in its current
Oh,
state. And the
definitely gonna
user
suck.
numbers won't stay anywhere close to where they're at now. He's forcing people off the app by allowing the blue check mark.
No.
Isn't about buying $8 and having a blue check mark. It's about buying the blue check mark for $8 and impersonating anyone you want. You can impersonate a brand like Mario, we saw the middle finger, or Eli Lilly, which fake tweeted that insulin is now free and it caused their stock to drop 6%, which is $1 billion in market cap. The same thing with Lockheed Martin. You can impersonate Adam Schefter or Woj and say the Nets. Nets have released Kyrie Irving. Why is that healthy on a social network? How do you not, when you don't know fact versus fiction, how is that a good thing?
I think they're fixing it. I think now he's like, oh, you got to put parody in your name.
How do you fix things with less people working?
But actually, the real stats are the Twitter growth has been explosive. There's been more users on the platform. People are actually using it. I'm actually going to take advantage of it. Next week, Dope Dog is going to start doing a ton of ads because everybo's scared to run ads. I'm going to go run ads. There's a whole bunch of people.
You should be advertising that on our show here. That's okay. For you're one brand that is sticking around. So that's
I think the way you're looking at it is like, yeah, you're a user, but you're still using it. You're not jumping off. And sure, the people
like I'm driving by it as the car crash is being cleaned up next to me and all eyes are on it. The traffic in the other lane slows down and gets backed up when you see the crash on the other side. You want to see what's happening. That's why I'm on Twitter now.
The problem is there is no other place that is similar to what Twitter offers anywhere on the internet. You're not going to go to Snapchat. Snapchat sucks. You're not going to go to Facebook. Your grandma's on Facebook. And Instagram is just kind of like, well, yeah, we're on Instagram. We see memes and that's kind of it. And like Twitter's the only place where you can go where people put information, tweet live, events are happening. There's nowhere you can go and he will fix the problem. I'm all on board. I love what's happening. It's like, this is how you turn around a business and you shut down the haters, and most average people will never know the difference. Never.
Everyone knows what's going on with Twitter. Every Twitter user knows what's going on because you're seeing it on your timeline. You can't avoid it on Twitter.
But most people are passive tweeters, right? Like people never tweet. Like I've barely tweeted. Guess how long I've had Twitter for? Just guess a year.
12 years.
I've had Twitter since 2007, 1 year after it was created.
15 years?
I've had Twitter that long. Twitter has been around this long. It's not going anywhere. And Elon is going to turn it around and he's going to hire a CEO. Once he fixes it, he's going to step away. Somebody else is going to operate it and it's going to be good. Most likely it's going to be Jason Calacanis, which probably is not a good thing, but we'll see what happens.
He's already using it. I'm on board. See, he let these people go, Mike. It's okay to have layoffs. Of course, it's necessary in the current economic structure, and everyone's doing it. Like you mentioned, Zuckerberg and Meta, they did it properly with severance, with warnings, with a heads up. Twitter's making people go back into the office now after they told people they never had to. He's operating like a loose cannon, like Trump. It's truly Trumpian the way he's acting.
No, I think right now, if you were owning a company, you just bought a company for $44 billion. Let's say we took over Twitter. First thing you're going to do is, why are there 8,000 people working here? We do not need that many people. Let's cut it. Let's cut all those people off. And
Disruption's great, and that's okay.
But I think the way, I guess to me, it makes sense. He's trying to figure out and push the buttons and see like, oh, okay, this is where the faults are in the company. And we need to make it profitable and we need to see where it's going. And I don't know. I like that he's doing it because there hasn't been a disruption in social media in a really long time. There has not been an app other than TikTok in the last 2 years that has changed the way we see the world and culturally. And I think he wants it to be open to everybody. He's like, sure, you can parody a name. We're just going to have to put this on it now because we did not realize it was going to do this. And I don't know. I guess I'm all on board. I'm 100% in, and you're not going anywhere. You're still going to use Twitter.
Oh, I'm going as soon as anyone creates a simple algorithm that just shows me like in order of when tweets or when message. It's just a message board. It's just a chat board. Let's go back to the early internet days. It's a message board. Show me chronological tweets or messages on a message board. That's all anyone has to.
Then Jeremy, why
two coders from Twitter to go out and just start this?
Why haven't you been using Reddit then? Reddit's the same thing. Reddit's not live though, and that's the problem. You want updates.
You find
Reddit's there for you.
Twitter. But now you find out first on Twitter, Adam Schefter is going to break some news, but it's not the real Adam Schefter. And then you, someone who works in news, is going to report what Adam Schefter did, but it's not real. It's a breakdown in the entire fact-based system of the app.
But that has been happening. Like every time I was doing crypto stuff, there would be fake crypto names pretending to be other names, and it'd be like Blockify X2 or something. It's not the real one. I don't know.
Made it much easier. It won't be around a year from now, and we can do a long-term bet.
Listen, we got predictions coming up in December. We can see where it's going from there.
Well, you were right 10 years ago when you said Twitter, the dying social network. You were right about that.
I'm all on board now. What else? Oh, let's talk about Mattress Mac. Let's talk about the World Series. Tell me about the World Series. Tell me about the World Series.
Ended. First of all, baseball. Let's shit on baseball for a minute. I'll join you on this. The World Series just ended in November. They started spring training in February. What are we doing? The lack of buzz for that Phillies-Astros World Series in November, during football season, during NBA, they need to wrap that shit up in August, right?
Yes, I 100% agree. We do not need it during football season. I didn't watch any of it. I literally didn't even know when the games were on. I didn't know what was going on. I thought that tweet that came out that said that the Phillies are going to win. I'm like, oh, Phillies are going to win. Like, this guy's been right 2 years in a row. He was obviously wrong, but
it might mean we don't have a financial crisis, because every time, I told you last week, every time the Phillies win the World Series, we have a financial meltdown. I mean, we're on the brink. I get it, but maybe we'll avoid it. Maybe it's close.
Is it weird
but Mattress Mac, the Astros guy, he won $10 million. It was like the biggest bet.
Mattress Mac won $75 million. He bet $10 million.
He bet 10 to win from multiple sports books and casinos, right?
So he did it in July, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I feel like if you really wanted to get some good odds, you could do it before the season. So he wagered $2 million at BetMGM at 5-1, $2 million at Barstool Sports at 5.3-1. And then 1 million each at Unibet and Betfred, which I have no idea, might be local places that he bet on, but that's where he put all his money. And I love it. I love that he went out and did it, because I think he did it a few years in a row, right? Like, he's been trying to win a lot of money.
But this is the biggest nut ever. And the Caesars, the head of like gambling or the betting lines at Caesars, came out and said, this is going to hurt our Q4 earnings, because this is how big of a loss, a big blow for them. And it's crazy that this doesn't happen more often. Like, rich people aren't betting on like one team at multiple books to win World Series and Super Bowls.
Well, it shows you how much money's in mattresses. The mattress game is pretty explosive.
You've been ahead of that. You've called that for a while.
The thing with mattresses is the way that he did it. He said anybody that bought a mattress during this time, I think he was going to give them a free mattress if he won. So I think he has to refund all these people that bought mattresses in July. But
so what a great bet with the casinos.
Yeah, it's great.
It's smart.
So great. I love it so much.
Like, and the Astros, they're champs. I was rooting for the Astros, even though they cheated a few years ago. I was rooting for them because I didn't want the Phillies to win. Like Philadelphia, like I don't like that city.
I really loved the post-game show where I saw Kate Upton and her husband. I don't know her husband's name.
Yeah,
she was
Verlander.
clearly wasted and very excited, and I thought it was great. I love the passion because she actually cared. Like in the stands, you see like videos of her flicking fans off. I loved it. That was great. That was
I was
so good.
surprised she did that interview. I could tell she was like, as soon as she started talking, I could tell she was a little bit lit. They just won the World Series. Like, your husband won. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
And she just went on and on about his like mechanics and watching his rehab, and it was like a little too much for the post game. I'm glad you saw that clip though. The other thing we had this week was the election and maybe the death of Donald Trump politically. We'll cover that on future shows. But something that affects us.
Hold on, what happened? Why is he out? Like, what's going on? Is
well, all of his chosen
DeSantis
candidates lost. All of his like handpicked replacements, election deniers, often racists and things like that. They all lost, and now DeSantis won Florida by a lot. And so the DeSantis versus Trump thing, it may have been 50-50. Now it might be like 75-80% DeSantis, 20% Trump. Trump's been ranting about DeSantis now, so that battle's already begun. Apparently next week, Trump is announcing his presidency, but the Republican Party's not going to back him up because they're going to support DeSantis, and now Trump's going to look like an outlier without the power of the Republican Party. Maybe runs as an independent, which sucks the vote away from DeSantis, and then neither one of them can win. So a lot of things at play.
Well, whatever's going to happen if Biden runs, the Republicans are winning, right? Like there's no way anybody votes for Joe Biden. Is he going to make it? Can he go?
Biden had a pretty good election day, you can argue, this past week.
I don't know. All I want, the only race I care about right now is who's going to be the mayor of LA. That's all I want.
And I just told you the city of LA is now up to 55% of the votes counted 4 days after election day. Nice. It sounds like they're going to get the results in another 2 weeks or so. So really efficient vote counting going on here in California. We know certain states still haven't reported their senator yet, but it's amazing. Florida wrapped things up on Tuesday night. So people shit on our state, Mike, Florida, and they actually figured out elections ever since 2000.
I voted by mail, put it in. A day later, got a text say, "Hey, Michael, your vote counted. You're in." So I don't know how it's taking so long for everybody else. Voting by mail is the easiest thing. Why would you go to a polling place? Like, why are you going to go stand in line?
Let's do some time on that. Why is it on a Tuesday? Why would you go in person? Why is it not on a weekend? Why can't you do it on your phone? It's like, I have so many questions.
Well, just do it by mail.
Voting.
Just do vote by mail. Why
does that have to be paper? Wait, I do all my banking on my phone. I move thousands of dollars from here to there on my phone. That's secure. Why can't we vote on our phones?
I feel like there could be easy fraud. Very easy, right? Like
they don't steal my money out of my bank account. Let me log in. And
they've had a long time to work out that system, right? Like, how are we going to go and how are they going to do it? Honestly, can I tell you this? I was sitting down there and we were trying to figure out the voting. I was so confused on so many votes. It's like, I want gambling in the state of California. Yes,
but the way they word it is just confusing, right?
Yeah, it's like, should it be no? And then who are these people? Too many things. I think you have to pass a test to vote. I think that's what should qualify you from now on. It's too hard. It's too hard to vote. I just voted and I'm an idiot. And I just voted for things that
maybe instead of passing a test to vote, Mike, they make voting easier. So everyone can vote instead of keeping some people from voting.
I think it's so hard to actually vote because it's so goddamn confusing. And then dumb people go vote for dumb things. And then sometimes those dumb things work because they question it so weird. And then you're confused and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I found it very complicated.
True. Why is it in person on a Tuesday is the craziest thing to me. Like not in person and not on a Tuesday seems like a great start.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things about that does affect us in California, why I brought this up, is sports betting failed. It failed in our liberal state of California. I thought this was a thing where it crosses all party lines, whether you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you support sports betting.
Tax
Who's it
money.
Hurting? Yeah, we're helping the economy. Why did this fail?
I don't know. I don't know if it was questioned weird. So there was two, right? There was like, can we do in-person sports gambling on Indian casinos? I'm like, yes, please. That would be great. Can we do it in California? Yes. Why not? Like, who does it hurt? It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt. Gives everybody more money. That's all.
Maybe it hurts the Indian tribes who now that's the only place it's legally allowed is at their casinos. Maybe
that would be
I don't
even
fully
better.
Understand it.
That'd be great for them, right? They'd be bankrolling all this money. Like Indian Wells Casino can now give you a sports book. I'd be on board.
I'm just mad about it. We've come so far in this state, yet
I don't know.
So far to
it lost by a lot too. It was like 14% to like something. It was really bad.
Well, maybe you resolved it. Maybe the real reason is it was worded poorly.
It definitely was. I had a lot of questions to Aaron. I'm like, why is this so complicated? It felt like I was taking a test that I was about to fail. and there's no wrong answers. That's how I
At
felt.
least we know you voted.
I did vote. Yeah. What else? What else do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Jeff Saturday?
Yeah, what
Talk
this
about Jeff
week has
Saturday?
been crazy. Before we got on, I was telling Mike, like, it's been a week. Like,
Yeah.
everything has happened this week, and some weeks you feel like there's not much of the news, and some weeks everything is in the news, and this is another one.
The Colts owner, we would all agree, is kind of kooky, right? He's done kooky things in the past.
Well, he is in the top quartile of the top quartile of the top quartile of owners, right?
What do you mean?
You didn't see the quote, but that's what he
No,
said
I
in the
didn't
Jeff
see that
Saturday
quote.
press conference. He went into this
great.
quartile thing about how we're in the quartile of the top quartile. Jim Irsay is on drugs, is lacking mental capacity. Something's up with that guy, because
100%.
the way he talks for years, the way he tweets, and now the way he fires his reputable head coach and brings in a nobody in the middle of the year is just crazy, right?
Did you see the interview with Jeff Saturday? Like saying, like,
Yeah.
I coach young men. I know how to do this. I know how to run the locker rooms. Like, okay,
He coached high school once.
Yeah, his record was like 4-13 or something like that. I'm definitely betting against the Colts this week, but
Yeah.
This is what I don't understand. You have $1 billion team, and you go out and find a former center that is now coaching high school football. Not like, hey, let's bring up, the assistant coach, or like go find somebody else that's just sitting around. Maybe, hey, isn't what's his name? Sean Payton. He's just sitting on TV. Maybe he's available. Hey, Peyton Manning's just sitting on TV too. Like there's guys that you could have gotten. Now, I don't know what the contract is. I don't know how much he's getting paid. Was that leaked at all? Like how much Jeff Saturday is getting paid? Is it like
It
still
wasn't.
his
It's
high
only
school
for 8
salary?
games. I don't
Oh, it's
think it's
only
that
8
much. I don't think he's doing it for the money.
I don't get it. I guess is it like an extreme form of like nepotism where it's like, I love this guy, they're friends, they talk on the phone. It's like, Jeff, I'm going to fire the coach. You want in? It's like, sure. Like, I know how to coach people. This is probably going to be the worst game ever, or they're going to win. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's fucking weird.
It's going to be pretty funny if he does start winning games and shuts everyone up. Because until then, it looks like one of the stupidest things that's ever happened in the NFL, in a league of stupid things. We see stupid things happen every week and every year. A lot of people, a lot of insiders, like Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, thinks this is the most egregious mid-season decision in NFL history of anyone, anywhere. Yeah. It's like the worst. And to your point, the line's so small, and we'll get to the lines, it's like 4.5 or 5. Like that doesn't reflect the worst thing that ever happened, the worst decision in the NFL.
I mean, I guess
so we'll see.
In a way, there's still like football players, like they'll still understand like to go play and do all that, but I don't know. It's felt so weird to me. Like all the interviews with Jeff Saturday felt like it was almost like a joke. Like we're making a movie. Well, what's the movie where they like go? Isn't there a movie like that where something like that? I don't know.
Kevin Costner, that one, the fake
so
draft
bad.
movie.
It's so bad.
It is nepotism. I'll say this, and I don't blame Jeff Saturday for accepting it. If Jim Irsay calls you and you played for this franchise your whole life, and he gives you a chance to be a head coach for 8 games, it's not on Jeff Saturday to say no. I'm not qualified. He was asked to do it. I blame, obviously, Irsay and the owner for bypassing the real football coaches out there. And there's so many, let's just say it, black football coaches who are not getting an opportunity, that are super qualified, that have been calling plays in the NFL for 20, 30 years. Yet this guy comes out of his posh ESPN studio and goes right to be a head coach without the experience. And so it's a bad look in that regard. There's also a conspiracy here where a few weeks ago, they retired one of the old Colts numbers, and Peyton was there. I don't know if you saw this. Peyton and Edgerrin James was there. Marvin Harrison was there. Jeff Saturday was there. I feel like maybe Irsay just went up to them and said, what do you guys think we should do? And Peyton's too rich because he's a quarterback, and Marvin Harrison's too rich, and Edgerrin James is too rich because they're running backs and receivers. And Jeff Saturday said, well, I guess I could do it. I'm just a lineman. And that's just how it happened. And it could be that simple. We talk about the idea of $1 billion organization making $1 billion decisions. Maybe it's just Irsay and Jeff Saturday throwing back beers 2 weeks ago and saying, hey, let's try this out.
It's a mess. Real quick, I just have this great meme on my screen, and it says, since drinking ayahuasca, this is for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been really bad. Drafted him in our fantasy football league. Definitely a bust.
Things are so bad for you there. You actually picked up Deshaun Watson today.
I did. I was like, well, maybe I'll get like 2 good games out of him.
That's how that thing's going.
So since drinking ayahuasca, he lost to the Jets, lost to the Lions, lost to the Commanders, lost Devontae Adams. He has no good wide receivers to play with him. Lost Lil Wayne as a fan. Lil Wayne said fire him, and he came on Part of My Take. I think that was because this was a meme that they put out, and it's been bad. And I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he has it in him anymore. And it's very weird. You see all those interviews with him on the Pat McAfee show where he's just like, he's just sitting back. Yeah, well, it's kind of doing this, and they're like laughing on the sideline. I don't know what's happening with him. It's a very weird season because him and Tom Brady, I think, have to retire after this season.
They
right?
have to, unless Brady is playing the second win. We saw that come back against the Rams last week. So give Brady a chance over in Germany this weekend. We'll talk more about that game coming up. But yeah, Rodgers seems like he doesn't care. They seem like they're just lifeless. He's happy to throw people under the bus. It makes me question ayahuasca, right? Because this is apparently the year that Rodgers took it, and it's changed things. Let's go back a moment to Jack Dorsey. Is that his name?
Jack Dorsey, Twitter.
Who did Twitter, right? Yeah, Twitter. So he did ayahuasca and then sold his company to Elon Musk and helped the takeover happen.
Well, no.
I'm feeling a
he
bad
did not
trend
sell
with
it. He did
ayahuasca.
not sell it to Elon Musk. It was public, so he just kind of left and then went over to.
Jack kind of made that happen, right? He kind of connected the dots. He wanted Elon to run it, so he was still involved somehow.
I don't know. I think Jack wants to do his own thing on like a blockchain and like I don't know. I think running Twitter is probably the worst job you could possibly ever have in your life because it is just a sounding board for like complaints. Like, hey Elon, got a problem with my Twitter? Can you fix it? It's like, oh yeah, we'll work on it. He must be on Twitter all day.
What I'm saying is ayahuasca's had a bad track record the last couple high-profile doses. So let's keep an eye on that going forward.
I have Scandal City, and then do you have anything else? Or do you?
Your picks?
I got picks too, yeah. Do you want to talk about the Scandal City was Kyrie and what he has to do to get back in the league? Do you want to talk about it at all?
I was just going to say, we covered a lot of news like from what happened this week. We haven't even gotten to Kyrie. Like he's so happy the news cycle's been nuts this week because that was so last week in a lot of ways. But yeah, he's anti-Semitic. He's suspended. Now players are coming out and supporting Kyrie. And I saw LeBron came out and said that Kyrie should be able to play and doesn't need to meet all of the things that the Nets owner wants him to meet to get back on the court, the requirements.
Do you want me to read all the requirements real quick? I have them all in front of me.
Sure.
Apologize and condemn the film he promoted. Make a $5,000 donation to anti-hate causes.
500,000, right?
500,000, sorry. Complete sensitivity training. Complete anti-Semitic training. Meet with the ADL Jewish leaders, and meet with team owner to demonstrate understanding of the situation. I saw the interviews. I was trying to explain it to Erin. She was totally out of the loop, and I'm like, there's this player doing this, and I was trying to explain it, like showing her all the interviews of Kyrie. He just kept saying, like, I love everybody. I'm not promoting the film. I'm not doing this, but he, in a weird way, is promoting, and I don't think he knows the power of what he was doing because that whole film is propaganda. It's like, I don't, it kind of like confuses me a little bit because it's nothing in that film is real. Like it's a made up film.
And that's the thing. It's more than propaganda. It's spreading lies about something that actually happened. Like, I don't know. I guess we should mention we're both Jewish. So we both maybe are biased on this subject, but we both understand the Holocaust happened. We both know our family members were killed in the Holocaust, a real thing that happened. And for someone with his power, as you mentioned, to promote that message, right? I know he says he doesn't promote it, and he says he doesn't have a platform he's sharing it on, but actions, as always, speak louder than words. And his actions were going back to Twitter. On Twitter, of course, is where he chose to promote it. And so it just gets really murky on what he should do now and what side of it you're on. And are the Nets asking for too much? Should they ask for more? I could argue both ways. And it's just a really tough topic.
Well, it's almost weird about the consequences of what he promoted, because then people are out there believing him and then like, oh, the Jews are in control. Look at what they're doing. And that's like the stuff I'm seeing now. And it's kind of weird because I feel like the way they're going about it, not that it's like what Hitler did, but it becomes a way of like, you're pushing people in this direction to hate a lot of people because of this one person that said one thing. And then all of a sudden it becomes like this snowball effect of like, yeah, the Jews are bad and the Jews are doing this. And I don't know, I guess I in a weird way I felt like very scared in a weird way of it. I was like, this is scary because people are blindly trusting things on the internet, and no one's even like, oh, the film's propaganda, I shouldn't believe anything. But they're like, no. the 101. I mean, we talked about it. There were signs of like, oh, I believe Kanye when he said all his things. So I don't know. It's like weirdly scary. I don't know why I got like fear in me from it, but it's weird.
And that's like a real thing. And like we're seeing it with our own eyes here in LA. Of our own eyes are seeing people who hate Jews and want to kill Jews. And it's like, what did our ancestors fight for if all these years later it's still happening in a city like Los Angeles in the US? And so it's a kind of a scary time. It's not just obviously Jewish people. It's so many groups of people that have been persecuted and run through the mud here in these last few years. A lot of it does come from Trump and it comes from other places too. I just think it's such a dangerous time, and the discourse is super dangerous. And I don't see a way like out of it.
I don't know either, but it's definitely weird, and we'll see what happens.
Wait, we're not going to solve this one.
No, I don't think we're going to solve it today. I don't think he's going to play basketball again. So that's
really
kind of where.
So you think the Woj tweet saying he was released could actually be true, just in a Sportstradamus way?
I think it gets really murky if he does get released, and then all the players start backing him. It almost weirdly backhands what they were against previously. They're like, oh, I'm against anti-Semitism. But then all of a sudden they're like, well, we want Kyrie back. But I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what's going on. Let's do our pick.
Wow. Yeah. Used to be your team, by the way. Remember the days of Durant and Harden and Kyrie and the big three, and they're going to win the finals?
I thought they're going to win it all.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Everything's falling apart. Lakers are falling apart. We don't talk about basketball enough, but Lakers are not good. We
will in the spring. There's like a 2-month window where we talk.
Yeah. We get excited about it. All right, let's do the picks. We're not finalized yet. We have to talk. We do have 5 games we like, and I'm going to talk about those, and we'll go through those. First one, we are playing. We're going over to Germany. We're playing that 6:30 game. We're taking the Seattle Seahawks, getting 3 points, both on the road, playing Tampa. I found this stat out. Germany has a huge fan base called the 13th fan out in Germany. So it's going to be a home game for Seattle. There's a huge fan base of Seattle Seahawks fans in Germany. They're going to show up. They're going to be there. I'm all for it. 88% of the money on Tampa Bay. I like Seahawks. People are still doubting them. Geno is like weirdly good, and I'm all for it. I love what's going on. It's easy win for them.
You had Seattle again last week playing Arizona. We knew that was a bad line, and we're like, take advantage of that. And you're right, yet again. I'm going to question. I didn't know the 13th man thing in Berlin, in Germany. Seattle's so far from there. The Glazers, the owners of the Bucks, they own the team that plays in Berlin, right? The soccer team.
Yeah.
Don't they own the stadium? I thought they would have the home field advantage.
We'll see on Sunday. I heard from somebody that I guess is a big fan said there's a 13th man out there. There are Seattle Seahawks fans in there. I'm excited to see what goes on in this game. First time it's playing in Germany.
Well, you're not going to see it.
No, but see it.
6:30 a.m. But see what happens after.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
The other thing is, last time we saw Brady, he's going down the field in one of those crazy situations. I saw a stat where like the league has like a 0.something% chance when you have no timeouts. You're down between 4 and 7 points. Or 4 and 8 points, it may have been. They may have had a 2-point conversion. Don't remember for sure. And you have to go down the length of the field in less than a minute. Brady did that against a good defense with Jalen Ramsey and the Rams. That's the last time we saw him. So you're fading him coming off of that. That might be a time for him to start playing well again.
I just don't think they're good enough. And I think Seattle's been really good on defense. They've been really good running, throwing the ball. They got good receivers. I watched that Tampa Bay game. No one could catch passes. And it was
why is Evans dropping everything now? Do you think he's going through a divorce?
I don't know. And I think Tom Brady, after losing $650 million, where's your head going to be? Your head was not in football all week because you're like, I just lost almost $500 million.
The flip side of it is maybe that's why he's been playing so bad for 10 weeks. And now that the news is out there, the weight's off his shoulders, just like the divorce news, and he can go out and ball.
I don't like it. All right. So the next game, this is where we're at. We were on both sides. Minnesota, Buffalo, back and forth. Yeah. Line keeps moving back and forth. The line now is settled at -3 for Buffalo at home. I think Allen, right before this, I think he was just ruled out.
I haven't seen that. Is that true?
I think I don't know. I thought I saw something, but look it up for me on Twitter or something.
I've got a questionable. Yeah, Twitter's still working, by the way. It's just questionable still, not out yet.
So here's a gamble. Do you play Buffalo at the line they're at? Because the line they were supposed to be was like 9.5, could have moved up to 10, maybe went down to 9. So let's say we're getting 6 free points here. Do you still play with Buffalo with an injured Allen, or do you also say, hey, is Case Keenum good enough to operate this offense to beat Minnesota? Now, I know this is prime time Minnesota, right? But this is Kirk outside. He's in the cold. And after that, I really wanted to fade him. After putting the chains on in the plane and like dancing around,
That was
primetime
a
Kirk.
lot.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
He needs to be faded and lose this week. But then the other part of me is like, well, is this just free money? Like, should we just bet against them? Are the Buffalo Bills the same team without Josh Allen? No, of course not. So I don't know where to go on this. We're on both sides. It's going to be game time decision. We got to submit before 5 today. I don't know where we're at.
Let's talk about the Bills for a minute. Why are they so
about
good? Why are they so good? It's because of Josh Allen, right? Is there another reason they're good?
No, it's just Josh Allen.
Stephon Diggs is good, but with Case Keenum, I can't imagine Steph Diggs is that good. Case Keenum was the backup in Minnesota at one point, throwing passes to Stephon Diggs, and no one remembers that happening because it wasn't working out that good.
Yes.
On the other side, Cousins, better than Case Keenum. Jefferson, as good or as better than Steph Diggs. They have Thielen, like Gabe Davis. They match up on offense. On defense, yeah, the Bills' defense is good, but they're going up against Kirk when the Vikings defense going up against Case Keenum. I like the Vikings side of it at +3 if Josh Allen is out. Of course, if he plays late decision, you're screwed, and that's a problem, right? And that you need to submit picks today.
Let me give you a stat from 2016 all the way to today. Okay. Minnesota on the road, 0-14 against outdoor winning record teams.
Great stat. The Bills are not a winning record team with Case Keenum. You can throw that out. You got to throw that stat out.
But they're currently a winning record team.
They are, but that's with Josh Allen. They might not, if Case Keenum played the whole year, they might not have a winning record. So that stat may not work.
I feel like it does because it's outdoors. I feel like Kirk likes
outdoors. It's on the
road.
Likes
indoors in Minnesota where it's nice and snuggly and warm, where he's playing football. That's primetime Kirk. Now I don't know.
Cousins is my fantasy quarterback in one league, Mike. And I'll tell you this: when he's at home at 1:00 Eastern, I start him. When he's on the road, I don't start him. And I picked up someone else to start this week. If that tells you how I feel about Kirk, but I like the +3 side of it for the Vikings.
Next game, we're not sure we want to do it, but I think we're going to do it. We're going to take Chicago -3 at home, playing Detroit. Jared Goff. The only reason why we want this game, we see value in the Detroit Lions coming to play on that gross field in Chicago where it's cold and the field is disgusting. I don't know. It's like a game that I don't want to play. I don't have a feel for either side. Mutual friend really wanted Chicago. I said, we can take it, but I have no feel for it. And I hate Justin Fields, but he's been winning games and I don't know how. He doesn't throw the ball. He just almost runs 200 yards last week. That's insane. So
he covered last week. He didn't win the game last week against my Miami Dolphins, just to be clear. It's one of those games, and I question you sometimes. Like last week, I had this thought, and it turned out true. When the Rams and Bucks played, we can say they're similar teams, right? You can say they're similar. Struggling offenses, older quarterbacks, not working, similar teams. Yeah. They matched up in Tampa, and it's hard to say what's going to happen when similar teams meet. And sure enough, the Rams are winning the whole game. Brady comes out and wins at the end. It was hard to predict what would happen there.
The witching hour hurts us every single.
But what I'm talking about is similar teams. And it's hard to find two teams more similar to each other than the Lions and the Bears. I know that one's running quarterback, one's offensive. They're bad on offense. They lack playmakers. They lack strategy. They lack play calling. And then on defense, they have some guys, but they're not really that good on defense either. They're rebuilding. They're just such similar teams. I don't know how you look at this game and say, this is what's going to happen. And that's what I'm trying to say.
I guess we're not saying this is what's going to happen. Are we saying there's value? Are we getting value on this game because we think the money will be on Detroit and people are like, oh, Detroit, they're going to do this? Maybe. I don't love it. It's a tough week. You just got to kind of play these games that you don't want to play. I want that upset feeling in my stomach when we're like, oh, do we take Buffalo or Minnesota? Kind of scary. You don't know, but you got to pick a side.
I have a couple games for you after you go through 5, and we'll see if we can swap one of these out for one.
Okay. I'll give you my next 2 I like, and then we'll see what you got. I'm going to go with Denver here on the road, playing Tennessee. Russ, after a little vacation, I guess he's going to play a little better. I don't like what's his name?
Is that better that he went to Cabo? I'm not sure that's a good thing that he left the country on his bye week.
I don't like the backup quarterback for Tennessee. I don't know if Tannehill's
Malik
playing.
Willis. But he played well against the Chiefs.
He can't throw the ball. So if they get down, I feel like Denver has a decent defense. And the stat is coming into play. We said it in our manifesto at the beginning of the year. This is what scares me. Denver in November and December, they're 40% against the spread. The public's all over Tennessee. So I feel like this is a game where you fade the favorite and you take the points on the road, take Denver. These are gross games. I don't like this game either, but that's where I'm at. Where I want Denver.
It's super gross. Wait, Denver's 40% November and December. What's that stat?
40% against the spread.
So that means they lose 60% of the time.
Correct. Well, they don't cover. They don't cover 60% of the time.
Right, which is a lot. Okay, so yes. Russ went to Cabo on his bye week. That's weird to me. The Titans, Wills played well against the Chiefs last Sunday night. They were going to win that game until Mahomes went crazy mode and had a rushing touchdown and a rushing 2-point conversion.
We have to say, though, I feel like they always match up well. Those two teams, they always play each other tough.
They do, but going from Tannehill to the rookie second rounder and still playing tough, that's an extra, right? Because the Titans were not at full speed and the Chiefs were, especially integrating Kadarius Toney into the offense. I think the Titans showed me something with the running game with Henry and the Titans defense. I actually like Russ to struggle again, and there's no fixing that.
All right, last game. This is a really tough one to play too. Division road dog, getting 11 points on the road, playing Monday night. We are taking the Washington Commanders, playing
your
Philly.
Boy.
Heineke. You know, I love him. He's got it in him, and I love him.
Why do you love him? Why do you love him?
He's got that dog in him, right?
He does.
He's there. I think Philly could blow him out, but Philly hasn't been covering these big spreads. I love some garbage time. Sometimes these games, I'm just better off after the race on Sunday when I ran. I got home at like 11:30. Just perfect time to see just the last few, like the last 45 minutes of the game. It was great. I saw what I needed to see. It was still up and down. I'm going Washington. Division road dog. We got to take it. That's it.
It was a good witching hour last week. A lot of games came down to the witching hour, so you got in front of the TV just in time for that after your half marathon. Yeah. The thing about this big spread is the Eagles are really good and Heineke's not. And it's just one of those butt clencher games. You're going to be sweating it out. Miles Sanders could bust a run at any point in the fourth quarter to break your dreams and to make you have a losing week. And that's really hard. It's just a hard one to bet on. I could see it going either way. I respect that you are listening to Manifesto, which as our lawyer friend in Colorado often points out, you're at your worst when you go away from the manifesto. So it's a good sign you're sticking with it.
We got to stick to the rules we set. We can't go off of them. It's like blackjack. If you don't hit on 16, you never hit on 16.
You didn't mention, that's true. You didn't mention the Raiders -4.5 against the Colts, but you are betting that game.
We had that. It's in the mix. It's like if we don't play Buffalo.
I thought you spoke of it as like fact earlier that's a line to take advantage of.
So it's in the mix because we're not sure if we want to play the Buffalo game. Is there more value us playing Buffalo or this game? I don't want to take two games I'm unsure of, but yes, this is in the mix. We have to finalize this afternoon. So that's in there. This was my best bet of the week. This is my guaranteed lock. I just don't know.
Be in there then.
I gotta convince our mutual friend. It's not just what I want. It's what we want. So -6.5 points is a lot for a team that keeps losing when they're up by 17. And I don't understand what's happening. This is
true. You're talking about the Raiders.
Yes, the Raiders. Yes,
yeah, they've been really bad. They've been really bad, and I don't know what's going on with them either. Darren Waller's out like 4 more weeks. But like we said, might be the most egregious in-season decision ever made in NFL history. There's an opportunity to take advantage of that if that turns out to be true. Of course, we don't know at this point. Saturday could be good and win games. For now, it looks like an opportunity to take advantage.
Now, are we silly? Are we going to be like, oh, why'd we take the Raiders? Like, obviously, the Colts showed up for Jeff Saturday on Sunday, and they're like, okay, we're going to play as hard as we can.
You can show up in 2 different ways. You can show up the Dan Campbell way when you get fired up and get passionate, and your strategy sucks, and you can't run a play to save your life, and you don't convert a 3rd down or a 4th down, and you lose. Yeah. And that's how the Colts might show up. They might be real fired up and ready to run through a wall. And then on 3rd and 10, they don't have a freaking play to run because their coach came from ESPN, and it's not even Dan Orlovsky. It's Jeff Saturday calling them. And I think you need to be on that side of it.
Okay.
I have a couple more for you.
Yeah, give them to me.
A couple more. The Giants-Texans game. It's a small line. It's only 4.5, what I'm seeing. Giants -4.5. Yep. The Texans are bad. The Giants are actually really good. They're winning games. The Texans disappoint us every time they play.
I would disagree. Giants are ranked the worst in every position.
Luckiest.
They're the luckiest, but they're ranked the worst in like defense and all this stuff. They're getting lucky.
Not the worst.
I was leaning Houston. I was taking Houston. All their stats lean to them being a bad team. I would take Houston here.
I just like to flag a few for you so we can.
I'm going to put you on there. I'm going to put J-Dog on there. So I flag it in our little document so we don't play that side.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah,
me because things are working out for you guys.
Oh, by the way,
there's one more game.
Right, do you want to? Last week we went 3-1-1. We're currently we got a fucking tie. We're 21, 23, and 1.
What game pushed last week? Because I had a push also.
Last week the only game that would have been a 3. I think we took Atlanta, and it must have ended on a 3 or no.
Was it that Atlanta-Carolina game was 2 weeks ago? Who did Atlanta play last week? They played last night, and I'm happy not to have watched one.
Oh, it was Washington. We played Washington last week.
That's what it was. Washington +3 was a push against Minnesota.
Yeah,
the other game I was looking at, what?
I was going to say you had Jacksonville last week, and they won.
I did.
On my doc.
I don't have them this week. +9 against the Chiefs. Chiefs could outscore them. The other game I was looking at, Mike, and the mutual friend will have some thoughts on this. Steelers, a home dog against the Saints. Yeah. I watched the Saints on Monday night because I bet on the Saints on Monday night. I thought they'd come out with a great home crowd, and they didn't. And Lamar picked them apart, and now they're on the road on a short week in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's coming off a bye while the Saints were trying to figure out that Ravens thing. So the Steelers have had 14 days. Saints get 5.
We thought about it. It may or may not end up in our thing. It's only 1.5. So Pittsburgh's getting 1.5 at home. It seems a little like I liked it at 3. 1.5 seems like you got to win the game. Can they beat the Saints? Oh, they will.
Andy Dalton. Oh my God. I have Saints fantasy players, and I'm so mad that Andy Dalton is still starting over Jameis. Think back early in the year. Jameis was throwing deep balls to Olave every other play all the time. Andy Dalton can't complete a pass down the field. He's like Malik Willis.
Jeremy, it is so hard to gamble. We've talked about every single game on this board, and I have like, I'm on Cleveland, I'm on Denver, I'm on Chargers. So all these, it's so hard to narrow down, like, where do we have the best feel? Mutual friend said he wanted to play it. I feel like he doesn't like double disappointment where they lose and we lose our game. So it's hard. So I think it's sometimes he stays off just for his mental health. So we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of double disappointment, that's something that our mutual friend causes our favorite listener in the Asheville Mountains all the time because he's disappointed his father.
I will tweet out from the Sports Hangover account, TSH Podcast on Twitter.
As always, yeah.
As always, our picks will be there, and you can see what our picks are. And probably an hour from now, I'll tweet it out.
Mike, it was a good hour show today. We should tell people it's getting cold out. It's been cold here in LA, keeping the windows shut. It's been too cold. Wow. But we do have some new hoodies on the sportshangover.com.
Did you get any?
I ordered over $100 of
Whoa!
on the sportshangover.com, just saying. And so I applaud everyone. I encourage you to do the same.
What hoodie? Did you get like the champion hoodie, just basic hoodie?
I got the champion one, the hoodie with the red outline. I got a few of those. I got the J-Dog Minister for Hire shirts. I got a few of those to wear around town.
It's great.
I need a side hustle, so that should be it.
Yeah, so check out the sportshangover.com. A lot of new swag up there. There's some gaming swag. There's also some I have running swag that I made for myself that's up there weirdly.
Workout swag. Benatar Booty Barn is a hot commodity.
Yes, yeah. It's good stuff. Good quality stuff. I really like all the stuff. I buy it all too, and I wear it. It's like, wow, these are nice shirts. The shirts are very good quality. So yeah, check out the sportshangover.com, and we'll be back next week.